It's anything but Victory Monday after that drubbing at the hands of the Baltimore Ravens yesterday that we all witnessed. We will recap that dismal performance from the Miami Dolphins, snap counts, PFF grades, next-gen stats, all that good stuff. Plus, have the injuries that have piled up shattered the potential Super Bowl dreams for the Miami Dolphins? We will talk all about that as we have updates on Xavien Howard, obviously Bradley Chubb, Jerome Baker, and much more. We got a lot to talk about. Smash that like button. No time to sulk because we got to turn around and get it done this weekend against the Bills. Smash that like button. Fins up. Let's get into it.
Loses the football. Touchdown! Got it!
You have got to be kidding me.
Jalen Waddle has a Dolphin touchdown.
And he will score!
Deep upfield down the near side, man open. Touchdown!
The run from Tua Tagovailoa.
Touchdown!
He's going deep. It's going over the touchdown again. Beautiful day to be a Dolphin fan. Let's go! What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason. And we are back here for another one. It's a new day. It's a new year. The loss to the Ravens, that was last year. The Miami Dolphins are undefeated in 2024. So let's keep it that way. Heading into the game this weekend. Listen, I know it's a tough one. I know people are still hurting. But there ain't no time for no pain, no hurt right now. We have to turn around and get it done this week at home against a division rival. There ain't no time to sit here and feel sorry for yourself. There ain't no time to get lost in the negativity. Now, I know a lot of you, right? I know how this fan base works. I've been doing this for 4 years. This is my fourth season, sorry. I watch how y'all operate. And I'm not, when I say y'all, it's a blanket statement. I don't mean every single one, but you guys go to certain people when you want to hear positivity. You go to certain people when you want to hear the negativity. You want to feed into that. There's no time to feed into the negativity this week. In fact, I'll say this. These people who are out here saying, wow, let's just, if we don't get our hopes up and we're just negative and, then we can't, this team can't let us down. We can't. Okay, and what if they don't? So you got too many people trying to play both sides of the coin. People saying, oh, we're screwed against Dallas. We win. What happens? Oh, well, we're screwed against Baltimore then after what they did. Like, moving the goalposts. It's the same thing here, right? Like, can't live in fear, man. Scared money don't make no money. And you got people out here fear-mongering. I ain't sitting here living in fear. At all. At all. You think this team's sitting here living in fear? Man, this is no time for weak mindsets. No time for cowards. You can't be like that. You can't be afraid of the past. So many people in this fan base get caught looking in the rear view. What happens when you're looking at the rear view the whole time you're driving on the freeway? Probably ain't going to end well. Probably is not going to end well for you and your motor vehicle, let's be honest. All of you that want to give up, go. Give up. Go roll over and die. You're a bunch of quitters. Listen, we had people telling us in this fan base, we don't even got to go outside this fan base, people telling us we wouldn't beat the Jets after the Tennessee collapse. People, well, we beat the Jets. Well, you won't beat the Cowboys. Beat the Cowboys on Christmas Eve. Oh, well, you won't beat the Ravens. Lose to the Ravens, now they all come out. I can't get with that, man. I just can't get with that. Like I said yesterday on the evening stream, the late night stream, if this team is one and done in the playoffs, then let's have the conversation. You got people out here who always say, well, time always tells. But they don't even let time tell. Season ain't done. Season ain't over. There's still a lot of football to be played. But, I mean, Martin said it yesterday. If this team can put together 20 really good quarters of football, that's a Super Bowl shot. Now, we'll talk about whether that's realistic later on here. But just think about it this way. One quarter at a time. You all want a Super Bowl? We got 20 quarters. You got to take it one quarter at a time. And it's getting so ridiculous that, funny enough, the voice of reason out here in the national media is Kyle Brandt. Kyle Brandt on Good Morning America. On Good Morning Football today. I don't think this is doom and gloom for the Dolphins. They got killed by the Ravens. A lot of teams have. But if you win versus the Bills and take care of business, I don't think this is a funeral for the Miami Dolphins. That's what he said. You have Kyle Brandt, a known Josh Allen and Buffalo Bills supporter, trying to be the voice of reason for this fan base. We beat them last year in the Rock. Listen, they've won 4 in a row. Did they look dominant against the New England Patriots? Please. Bailey Zappi basically gave them a Brock Purdy turnover game that Brock Purdy gave the Ravens. Ravens blew out the 49ers. It was close between the Patriots and the Bills. And that's another thing, right? If we're frauds, then what are the 49ers? 49ers got blown out by the Ravens too. Everyone has them as a Super Bowl pick, a Super Bowl favorite. They got blown out by the Ravens. Are the 49ers frauds? I'm just saying. I mean, it's all doom and gloom. There's fucking movies named Any Given Sunday. It's one of the most cliche sayings in all of sports. Guys, put it in perspective. You want to talk about injuries and beating the Bills? If Jalen Waddle makes the catch in that opening drive against the Bills in the playoffs last year, we beat them with Skylar Thompson. And we put up more than 30 points. That's what I'm sitting here saying here. We almost beat this team with Skylar Thompson. If Jalen Waddle does his job and catches the football, we beat the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo with Skylar Thompson, with no Raheem Mostert as well. And Jeff Wilson was doing nothing. He was averaging less than 3 yards per carry. He was averaging like 2.3 yards per carry, I think, to be exact. I'm just saying. Let's stop with this. Y'all forget what we just saw last year. This team can beat Buffalo at the Rock. Name a time this season the Miami Dolphins have lost 2 in a row. And I don't see this team getting blown out again. And let's talk about that, because I see someone says, you're confident with Eli Apple as number 2 CB? Answer me this. Did the Cincinnati Bengals go to the Super Bowl with Eli Apple as one of their top 2 CBs? Remind me. Remind me. Did the Cincinnati Bengals, did they or did they not go to the Super Bowl with Eli Apple? Just saying. Don't act like it can't be done. Don't act like you can't win playoff games with Eli Apple. I don't know what to tell you. Actually, if you actually go, this guy. First of all, your name is just the two of us, so change your name. Second of all, did you watch the playoff run? That defense led the Bengals to the Super Bowl that year more than Burrow in the playoffs. That defense was lights out. Burrow wasn't having 400 or 500 yard games in the playoffs. Actually, in fact, if you go back and watch the film, Burrow was getting killed because he wasn't IDing blitzers off the edge and he wasn't IDing hots and getting the ball out. Burrow was getting killed. A lot of the sacks Burrow was taking on that playoff run were on Burrow, not the offensive line. Bro, I don't know who you are, but I mean, you're gone. I don't know who you think you are talking to, bud. Goodbye, Brad. I don't know who you think you're talking to, bud. Happy New Year, bro. What do you think are the best options for replacing Chubb and X? You can't replace Chubb and X. Your best effort is to try and supplement. Your best effort is try to supplement. You know, the options right now are you go bring JPP back, you go bring in Ndamukong and Sue into the fold, or do you put in, you know, do you try and make a move for Frank Clark? You know, do you make a move for Justin Houston? You can't. The problem is, man, you know, you can't replace that talent. You just can't. And corner-wise, I don't think anything's really going to happen there. I think you're going to see Eli Apple and Ethan Bonner get used. And everyone keeps asking Cam Smith. I keep telling all y'all, and I don't know why people aren't getting this. I'm not even talking to y'all in the chat. I'm talking in general. Fangio doesn't trust Cam Smith. I keep going about this. Why isn't Ethan Bonner going to get the reps? Because Ethan Bonner will stay home. Ethan Bonner will stay inside the scheme. Ethan Bonner will play to his responsibilities. He won't try and do things and make things happen and go outside the scheme. Cam Smith will. And I don't think they trust Cam Smith with that. That's just where it's at. That's just it. Well, you know, he's not going to be up against Diggs, right? Davis is going to be a group effort. But you're going to probably see Ramsey shadow ones now. That's the thing. Do I think Needham will get more CB reps? He should. I like Needham. You want to talk about Eli Apple? I said this yesterday. I'll say it again. Because see, people confuse when I explain things or when I tell things of why they are as that's what I believe in. Bro, I believe in Nick Needham more than I believe in Eli Apple. That's just like, that's a fact for me. I'd rather Nick Needham get the snaps than Eli Apple. You want to keep it a buck? I would rather Nick Needham get those snaps. I'll go, like, I like Nick Needham. I don't know if the coaching staff is as high on him as some of those people in the fan base are. That's it. So you got Ogba. I mean, thank God he wasn't active. So we got Ogba healthy at least. Jeez Louise. That's all I got to say. Thank God. But, look at it this way. How many teams have players the caliber of AVG and Ogba who can come in and take up big-time snaps and big-time numbers? How many teams? Now, is it Chubb and Jalen Phillips? No. And don't expect it to be. But Ogba's made plays on limited snaps this year. Interception, forced fumbled. You got 5 sacks. Ogba's made plays. AVG's made plays. The problem we're going to have is we cannot have all y'all. We cannot have all y'all doing disappearing acts, your best Houdini act. You got to be on point from here on out. Jason, I thought we should have blitzed more yesterday. I mean, if you look at that first half especially, right? I mean, that first half, we did blitz. We blitzed him, 6 times? And he was 5 of 6 for 171 and 2 touchdowns. The blitz wasn't getting home. That was his most passing yards against the blitz in any half of his career. On the flip side, Jalen Ramsey, he stayed on the right side 93% of the defensive snaps in the first half. Eli Apple, he was on the left side for 100% of the snaps after Xavien Howard left. It is what it is. And that Odell Beckham throw was actually the most improbable completion of his career. The completion probability was 13.3%. Lamar cemented his MVP yesterday. I don't know what else to tell you. It's tough, man. It's tough. I get it. I mean, and we were only sending, 4 or 5 normally? Right? We were in man a lot. We got cooked in man yesterday. I mean, look at that Zay Flowers touchdown. When you go back and watch it, how that was basically a play our offense runs, and they ran it against our defense. They even opened up Lamar to the left side. Like he's a lefty, and then he flipped back to the right and made the throw. Problem was we just weren't getting enough pressure. You saw what the pressure did. Right? On that 3rd and 25 drive, et cetera, et cetera. You saw what the pressure did. But we couldn't generate after that. I don't know what to say, man. And I'm going to go back to this. I don't get why people are trying to excuse this whole every team has injuries. I don't get this. Like, do I have to name these players again? Robert Hunt, Connor Williams, Isaiah Wynn, Raheem Mostert, Jalen Waddle, Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb, Jerome Baker, Xavien Howard, all out right now. Jalen Ramsey, Teron Armstead have missed significant time already this year. But here's the kicker. Here's the kick in the nuts. Robert Hunt playing at a Pro Bowl, All-Pro level. Connor Williams viewed as one of the top centers in the NFL. Isaiah Wynn having a career resurgence. Our run game was moving mountains with him in there. Raheem Mostert having the best year of his career. Jalen Waddle starts coming on and looking like the old Jalen the last couple weeks before he gets hurt. Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb establishing themselves as one of the best pass rushing duos in the NFL this year, both out. Xavien Howard, former All-Pro. Jerome Baker gets better every year. Like, those are 9 of your 22 starters. And what? 6 of them are like all pros? Pro bowlers in our offense or defense? That's significant, man. Like, that is significant. Like, you guys need, people who think this is normal, you guys need to go look at the Kansas City Chiefs and their games lost on injuries on the offensive line over the last couple of years and compare that to us. Just compare the offensive lines on games lost. This is not normal, ladies and gentlemen. This is not normal. That's why you have people on X saying, fire the strength and conditioning staff. This isn't normal. I know this is, people are thinking this is the norm here because we're Dolphin fans. This is not normal. By any stretch of the imagination. And then when you got Tyreek dropping touchdowns in big moments, bad penalties, bad turnovers, Tua. What do you That's the thing. And I've been saying this the last couple weeks. When you're so down, right? This isn't something new I've been talking about since the Ravens game. When you're so hurt and down, you can't afford the little mistakes. When you're already behind the 8 ball on personnel, you can't afford turnovers. You can't afford penalties. You just can't. You just can't. Because then you start just stacking up against yourself. You can't be your own worst enemy. You can't afford bad situational play calling from McDaniel. You can't afford poor clock management from McDaniel. You can't afford this stuff. You can't afford stubbornness from Fangio and lack of adjustments. You just can't. You got to be so on point when you're so, again, they call it all 22 people because there's 11 starters on offense, 11 starters on defense. We only have 13 starters playing right now from the 22 we started with. And even the backups, Liam Eichenberg, playing on an injured calf, he goes down on Sunday, and we're all thinking to ourselves, oh my God, did he just tear his Achilles? Even the backups are getting hurt. I didn't even talk about A-Chan's missed time. Shout out to Carlos joining the All-Pro. Listen, I get injuries. Injuries happen, I get that. But ladies and gentlemen, 9 starters with 6 of them play at an all-pro level on your team, that's significant. I'm going to tell you this right now. I said it yesterday. If I gave you Connor Williams, Jalen Waddle, and Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb healthy off that list, so we were missing only Xavien Howard, Jerome Baker, Raheem Mostert, Isaiah Wynn, and Robert Hunt, still 5 significant pieces, we would be okay right now. There wouldn't be panic across Dolphin Nation. It just wouldn't exist. But here we are. Here we are. Bone says, Mike needs to get an OC that's like he's never going to get a play calling, bro. We've got the guy in the building. We got the guy in the building. It's Darrell Bevell. Yeah, bro. The first season we lose everyone around him. Tyreek's even banged up. The most he's ever been in his career. We didn't have these kind of injuries last year. We didn't have 9 starters out, if you included Tua, at the end of the season. It's ridiculous. You got to overcome. And I get that. You got to overcome. So let's get into the whole injury thing here. Let's talk about this a little bit. So let's start off with some updates, all right? Because in case you guys didn't see, obviously it came out earlier. Dolphin star pass rusher Bradley Chubb did suffer a torn ACL. He's lost for the season and the playoff push. He probably won't be back till like at least October, November. Right? You probably won't see Jalen Phillips till like around September. I mean, realize this, ladies and gentlemen. Not only are we $40 million over the cap next year, now we got to supplement Chubb and Phillips for like the first month and a bit. Like, talk about it behind the 8 ball anywhere. And no, we did not have injuries like this last year. We did not have 9 starters out. The biggest injuries heading into that Jets game, Tua and Raheem Mostert were out. Those were our biggest injuries heading into that game. We have quadrupled that. So no, we didn't have the same amount of injuries as we had last year. But anyways, I digress. So that's the deal on Bradley Chubb. He's out. Here's the update from Barry Jackson. Says the Dolphins envision their dynamic outside linebacker tandem of Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb wreaking havoc on quarterbacks in January, helping them win playoff games. Turns out they'll have neither. Tests on Monday confirmed what was feared. Chubb sustained a torn ACL while trying to chase down Ravens running back Melvin Gordon late in Miami's 56-19 loss to Baltimore on Sunday. Chubb's injury likely will sideline him for the start of the 2024 season. ACL injuries usually require a recovery time of 9 to 12 months for NFL players. It's an unfortunate coincidence. The season-ending injuries of Chubbs and Phillips were both non-contact injuries. Phillips tore his Achilles against the Jets on the day after Thanksgiving. Chubb's injury occurred with the Dolphins trailing by 30 and 3 minutes left in the game. Coach Mike McDaniel said he decided to keep the players on the field, but I understand fully that it doesn't look very smart at all. The players wanted to go back in and play and finish the right way heading into next week. I would like a time machine for sure in that situation after the events occurred. This is Chubb's second torn ACL, but the first involving his right knee, so it's not the same knee. He sustained a partially torn ACL in his left knee in 2019, so that is good news. Obviously, it's not good news that both knees have had torn ACLs, but at least it's not the same injury. It's not the same knee. The loss of Chubb, who has a team-high 11 sacks, means Miami will need to rely on Emmanuel Ogbah, Melvin Ingram, and Cameron Good for the outside linebacker snaps opposite Andrew Van Ginkel, who has been filling in for Phillips. Against Baltimore, Ingram surprisingly played ahead of Ogbah, who was a healthy scratch. Ingram logged 16 uneventful defensive snaps and didn't have a tackle. Neither did Good in 5 defensive snaps. Ingram figures to be signed to the 53-man roster after Chubb is placed on injured reserve in advance of Sunday's regular season finale against Buffalo. Ogbah, who had the highest base salary on the Dolphins this season, has 5.5 sacks and 16 tackles and 200 defensive snaps. Ingram, who had 6 sacks for Miami in 512 snaps last season, hadn't played in the NFL this season before joining the Dolphins practice squad in December. He has 2 tackles and 37 defensive snaps for Miami as a practice squad elevation. I mean, you know, you got to be better, man. I mean, McDaniel, you can't, like, This is so avoidable. That's what's the worst part about this. Like, listen, all right? It was just so avoidable. You're down 3 minutes. So you saw McDaniel say he decided to keep the players on the field. He also said the players wanted to go back in and play. Listen, I don't care. You're down by 30. You got to tell the players, do you really need to go out and stop? Do you need to go out and stop Melvin Gordon and Tyler Huntley? Do we need that? For what? For pride? For ego? What do we need that for? What's the point? There was no point. And now you lost one of the players you couldn't afford to lose for the rest of the season. Because as amazing as AVG's been this year, let's not sit here and lie to ourselves like he hasn't disappeared for certain stretches. Let's not sit here and lie to ourselves like this coaching staff truly believes in Ogba. I think we believe in Ogba more than the staff does, and Ogba's got good numbers. It's not like he has bad numbers. Unbelievable. I think they got to go bring back JPP, or you got to get Frank Clark, or you got to get Justin Hughes. You got to do something. TE, TE, what do you want to bet right now in the chat? Right? I'm not even picking on you. I like TE. What do you want to bet? Let's make a bet that Baltimore doesn't go to the Super Bowl. I might even make a bet they don't go to the AFC Championship. I'm actually kind of down to make that bet. If you want to make a bet, let me know, brother. Because I'm down. I don't even think they go to the AFC Championship. I just don't see it. You're talking about a guy who's 1-3 in the playoffs. At least, and I'm not even saying we're going to the... I'm by no stretch of the imagination am I saying we're going to the AFC Championship. But at least we haven't seen what Tua is in the playoffs. We kind of know what we get with Lamar in the playoffs. All of a sudden, it crashes down. Who's going to the AFC Championship? In my opinion, I'm telling you right now, I kind of agree with EM and Martin yesterday. I don't think anyone wants to play the Browns. I don't think anyone wants to play the Browns right now. I really don't. They're a sneaky, sneaky, scary team. Imagine if they had Nick Chubb right now. I mean, they're the only other team I can sit here and say the injuries they've had equate to what we're dealing with right now. But Flacco is out here like he's, early, 2000s comeback player of the year, Kerry Collins, taking the Giants to the Super Bowl. Jerome Ford stepped up. Kareem Hunt stepped up. Look at, why? They're good with Flacco. Look at how Flacco features Amari Cooper. Stefanski, I think Stefanski's going to win Coach of the Year. And you know why, boys and girls? Their defense. That defense in Cleveland is for real. Y'all think Baltimore's defense is for real. Cleveland's defense is just as for real, or maybe even realer this year. And I'm going to tell you this right now. Don't count the Chiefs out, man. Don't count out Patrick Mahomes. I would not be shocked if it's the Browns and Chiefs AFC Championship. I really wouldn't. Really wouldn't. Especially if we lose this weekend. And now if the Chiefs wind up in that 2 seed, look the hell out. If the Chiefs end up in that 2 seed and you got to go through Arrowhead, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know. we've seen, Patrick Mahomes, we saw the fight he put up against the Bucs, and he had no offensive line. Like, at least we have Armstead and Jackson. He had no offensive line, and the fight he put up in the Bucs game, yeah, they lost, but he still put up a hell of a fight for a guy with nothing in front of him. You know, I could see Rashee Rice being huge in the playoffs, Isaiah Pacheco having a good playoff. Kelsey finds his game again in the playoff stretch, because let's be honest, since he started dating Taylor, his game has swiftly fallen. See what I did there? But anyways, sticking with the injuries here, because we got to get to one of the topics that I want to talk about. All right. A day after the Ravens lost, McDaniel updates injuries to Howard Baker. Now, remember yesterday, I heard it was not good on Xavien Howard's part, and they were waiting for tests, but I was hearing it wasn't good. Well, here we go. Dolphins cornerback Xavien Howard is expected to miss at least one game and potentially more with a foot injury sustained early in Sunday's loss to Baltimore. I'm not planning for Howard to play Sunday against Buffalo, McDaniel said Monday. But McDaniel said the good news is the injury does not look like it will require surgery. It's a week-to-week measure. We will have to see how he responds. Feet at that position are tricky. Each person is different. Meanwhile, McDaniel confirmed that linebacker Chubb has a torn ACL in his right knee. He will miss the remainder of this season, and his status for the start of the next season is very much in doubt. It's a big loss to the team in the locker room because of the human being that he is and his play. He's obviously injured when the Dolphins losing by 33 minutes left. Asked if that will make him alter his approach about removing starters from blowouts, McDaniel said that situation was very unique in that we had just taken out offensive players. I was in the process of communicating stuff to the players. It was a fumble one play drive. Guys run on the field. I could tell they didn't want to wait a week for a series. You make decisions with the proper intent, always knowing the consequences of those rest on your shoulders. It's a tough moment. I wish it wouldn't have happened. When things like that happen, the burden is great. McDaniel said he's not worried about Tua Tagovailoa's throwing shoulder. Tagovailoa said it's sore, but not a big concern. Not something that's a huge blip on my radar. What I'm not worried about is the player fighting through that and being able to be productive. I wouldn't anticipate it being very sore because of the way he attacks rehab. On another injury front, Jerome Baker, who has a sprained MCL, is eligible to begin practicing Wednesday and play on Sunday. McDaniel said his 21-day activation window will be open soon. Jerome Baker has been doing well, and we will see how the work goes with training staff. I'm optimistic. His 21-day window for activation will begin here soon. But even if he starts practicing Wednesday, that doesn't necessarily mean he'll be activated for Sunday's game. Asked whether guard Robert Hunt is healthy enough to play after missing 4 games in a row with a hamstring injury, McDaniel said that will be determined when his practice work is increased this week. I anticipate a lot more reps coming his way. If there are no setbacks, I'm fairly optimistic we will see him very soon. McDaniel addressed other issues during his Monday media briefing heading into Sunday's game against visiting Buffalo. He was asked about whether Nick Needham or Cam Smith could get a fresh look at quarterback in Howard's absence, or whether Miami will continue riding with Apple. Here's how McDaniel answered. Every single week you're assessing. There's not a day that goes by where you overlook what people are doing on the field. Nick is doing a great job in his role. I'd be confident with him in a various amount of roles. He's a very smart player, knows several positions. He's doing a good job. Eli has been doing a good job as well. Cam, as a rookie at the corner position, has done what we've asked in terms of developing. You are careful not to. Corners are like quarterbacks, where you are hoping to put them in a position when they're not going to have results that would have scar tissues. It's not anything that he hasn't done necessarily, but there are also some players who have earned the trust of their teammates on the field that compete every day. We can't put him out there. It's not like that at all. Those reps have gone to Eli because he's earned that. We'll keep assessing every week. He said Emmanuel Ogbah will have a huge role without Chubb. I feel very much more comfortable with a man of his size, that much more removed from a soft tissue injury 2 weeks ago. Ogbah was a healthy scratch against Baltimore. Melvin Ingram was active instead. Mel has come in with an exuberance and eager to deliver on every opportunity. What he has done throughout his career is similar to what we've asked of our edge players. It kind of fits his game. It came up with Ogbah having a soft tissue and fit our game plan. He's a cool piece of our locker room, and you know he's going to compete. Ingram is on the practice squad, but could fill a roster spot that will open when Chubb goes on IR. The Dolphins are 4-0 after losses this season, and McDaniel said the fact Miami doesn't have any losing streaks speaks to what it takes in a parity-ridden top-tier league. He said it hurts to watch the Baltimore tape, but spoke of the need for everyone to get their mind right to prepare for Buffalo. On why that offense struggled after a strong start, he said they tried to force some plays that ended up in turnovers that kind of derailed the entire game from an offensive perspective, overly aggressive, not taking what's there. I'm included in that too. Best way to not throw a pick is to call a run. And, I mean, we saw Tua talk about it post-game. I've brought it up during film sessions over the years. Tua, when people say Tua chokes, it's not that he's choking, it's that he's trying to force the play. He's not letting the game organically come to him and taking what the defense gives him. We saw him take what the defense gives him and let the game come to him organically against the Patriots this year, or the first game when they the first team that show us that 3-high shell look, right? And then we've seen times we face that 3-high shell look where Tua hasn't taken what the defense has given him. He's been overly aggressive, right? And it's either worked in incompletions or not in our favor. It's the same thing here, man. And Tua needs, I mean, again, I don't know whose call it was, whether that was McDaniel or Tua. I'm going to guess it was the coaching. But why are we rushing the order of operations, and why are we rushing a throw on that first pick when we're about to hit the 2-minute warning? You're trying to score points and leave no time on the board. What are we trying to score with a minute and a half left so they got a chance to come down? What was the rush before the 2-minute warning? There was no there was those are the questions that need to be asked. Right? That's what I'm asking Tua or McDaniel post game. Why were you rushing that throw? Whose call was that? I know it's on coaching, but I want to hear it said verbally. Whose call is that? Because that's a bad call. That's bad call. And Tua rushes his order of operations when a lot of what he does hinders off what he IDs and processes pre-snap in this offense. You can't do that, man. You just can't. I don't know whose call that was, but not a good call. So here's where I'm at. Let's have this conversation. I want to hear in the chat right now. I want to hear the chat. Tell me in the chat right now. Have the injuries shattered the Super Bowl dreams for the Miami Dolphins? Let me know in the chat right now. I'll give you a minute to answer before I go in on this for a sec. No, yes, yes, yes. Yes, no, never give up. No, not the injuries. Okay. I don't know what you're talking about, Dean Brown, because clearly the injuries are the deal. Not yet, but close. What are you talking about? No, not the injuries. Are you going to say some stupid shit? If you're going to say some stupid shit, I'll get rid of you. Sadly, reason yes, no. Not yet. Injuries don't help, but I wouldn't say shattered. Yes, it's impossible to overcome. Yes, but also no. Any given Sunday, no. Center and corner injuries, maybe. No, can't answer that yet. I hope not, but let's be realistic. Yes. No. Only Baltimore separated themselves. Fortunately, yes. Yes. I mean, it's pretty much... Name a team that's overcome the injuries we have and that's made a Super Bowl run. I want to hear this. Name a team. Name them. Name them. Name a team that's overcome these injuries and made a deep playoff run. I want to hear this one. You remember, you got to find a team that has 9 or more starters out. 9 or more. 9 or more. Injuries haven't dismantled anything. Never viewed this team as a true contender. My goal is division and a playoff win. Hate to say it, but it has. Yes. Yes. If we do, it'll be a movie about it. I agreed. Yeah, but again, right? See, we can talk about the Packers. Sorry, the Browns. I'll address the Packers in a second. The Browns, they don't have 9 injuries. Their offensive line, I mean, what do we got? They got Jedrick Wills. And they haven't even done anything yet, right? They got Jedrick Wills is out, I believe. What else they got? Obviously, Chubb, Deshaun Watson. Defense is pretty intact. They lost another offensive lineman. Remember, we got to find 9 or 10 starters off, not 3 or 4. Not 3 or 4. You got to find 10. You have to be a spot thrower in the NFL. I had JT O'Sullivan of the quarterback school up here. His exact quote: "If you're not a spot thrower in the NFL, you won't last long. Like, learn the game, learn the position. You are taught to throw to spots at peewee level. Like, learn the game, bro. Don't come in my chat speaking nonsense because you don't know ball. Learn the game." You know? So here's where I'm at. I personally, listen, here's my thing. I think this is going to be real tough. I think this is going to be real tough. This is just going to be, I don't know, man. You're talking about a deep playoff run. By the way, the 2010 Packers, are you serious? Their biggest loss was Morgan Burnett and Jermichael Finley. What are we talking about? The 2010 Packers, what are we talking about here? I'm literally looking at this right now. I'm literally looking at every injury and all the players that went on IR. I can tell you the players that went on IR. Nick Barnett, Morgan Burnett, Jermichael Finley, Ryan Grant, Justin Harrell, Spencer Havner, Brad Jones, Derek Martin, Mike Neal, and Bradley Popenga. Oh, as well as Anthony Smith and Mark. I mean, what are we talking about? I'm not seeing, bro. What? They had basically almost everyone. AJ Hawk, Clay Matthews, still good. Charles Woodson, still good. Buddy, I mean, Greg Jennings, good. They had their starting left tackle, Chad Clifton, good. They had Ryan Bulaga, good. They had their whole starting offensive line that season. Clifton, College, Scott Wells, Josh Sitton, Brian Bulaga, they had them all. Brian Bulaga was a rookie. BJ Radji, one of their best defenders, had him for all 16 games. Ryan Pickett had him for 12. Clay Matthews had him for 15. AJ Hawk had him for 15 during the regular season. Charles Woodson and Traymon Williams are starting corners. They had him for all 16 games. They had Nick Collins, their Pro Bowl free safety, for all 16 games. What are we talking about here? Like, the 2010 Packers had all their starters, man. The only ones they lost were, Jermichael Finley? But they had Donald Lee step up in for him. But Jermichael Finley was like their biggest loss. And maybe Morgan Burnett, because then Charlie Peppera had to step in. But other than Morgan Burnett, and I mean, yeah, that 2010 Packers. I don't know about that one, bud. So listen, my thing is here where we're at. Listen, these are significant. Now I will say this: if we can get Robert Hunt, and if we can by some miracle get Jerome Baker, I mean, look at it this way. For the first playoff game, I expect Jerome Baker, Jalen Waddle, and Robert Hunt back. Right? Yeah, I agree with you, Pro Special. I believe Carson Wentz going down and Nick Foles is a better argument than that, probably. But we're looking for 9+ starters, right? 22 starters. We're down to 13 starters. We're going to get Waddle, we're going to get Robert Hunt, and we're going to get Jerome Baker back for at least the first game in the playoffs. That is huge. That is huge. That's, I will give us that. That's huge. All right. This offensive line, that's huge. Yeah, you're right, Cal. It lost once, but the whole team was there, right? So those three coming back will be huge. The problem I see here is, and this is what worries me heading into Buffalo. No X. This is a game where Gabe Davis could eat us. This is a game where, I could see Ramsey erasing Diggs, but then I could see Gabe Davis lighting us up and Kincaid getting matched up with Duke Riley, and it's over. Like, we need better performances from a guy like Duke Riley, too. Listen, if you're going to ask me right now, I think the injuries, this is my answer. Here's my answer. I'll put it this way. I think the injuries have led to us being a team that can compete more for a spot in the AFC Championship game than a spot in the Super Bowl. That's where I think we're at right now. Yes, we still have a lot of talent with the injuries. Yes, we've made chicken salad out of chicken shit. But they're going to, like, losing your number 2 corner, your 2 starting edge rushers. Because I don't know if X is going to be, I don't think X is going to be back for the first game of the playoffs. Because remember, it's not like we get a week off. You got to go right back out there. Now he might. And then if he is, what if if he's just going out there for the sake of going out there, like what we saw from Holland yesterday? Holland doesn't even look like he's at 70% right now. So Jerome will be back. So at least, better coverage linebacker than Duke for the playoffs. That's okay. I mean, that gives us some relief. AVG and Ogba, we can all admit we're not going to get Phillips and Chubb production, but not a lot of teams have 2 players like that can step in with a rotation of Melvin Ingram behind them and make plays. So that's a bright side. Hunt will be a bright side because then our offensive line, if guys can stay healthy, Armstead, Robert Jones, Liam Eichenberg, Robert Hunt, and Austin Jackson is basically the best we can field because Isaiah Wynn is not coming back like I've been telling y'all for months, and Connor's out. That's literally the best 5 we have on the roster. So Hunt comes back, at least we'll put together the best 5 we possibly can. That's a positive. Like, I think we can still win a playoff game with if Hunt, Waddle, and Jerome Baker are back and like 75% or better, we can win a playoff game. 110%. Yeah, Elliott hasn't been good the last 2 weeks either. Elliott hasn't been good the last 2 weeks. But we will get Waddle back for the playoffs. And we will have Hunt and Baker back for the playoffs too. If Hunt's not back this week, he will be back for the first round of the playoffs. See, that's kind of what I was interested in seeing yesterday when Liam went down, Cal. Harrison could have got a chance to show he could have been decent, and then we could have kicked Liam to guard. But Liam's banged up. Like, Liam's one bad play away from good. I know every player is, but he's closer to that edge of one wrong turn, and it's not a good situation. So right now, I think, have injuries shattered our Super Bowl dreams? I think they've turned this team into a Super Bowl contender to more of a contender for a spot in the AFC Championship. Now, you get to the AFC Championship, anything can happen. But let's put it this way. I'm not as confident as I was heading into the Chiefs game. Remember the Chiefs game where we're like, oh, we're getting all these bodies back. We're going to be so healthy. Oh, boy. That's just it. And it's not even about then we play KC because, you know, we beat ourselves against KC. But it's the injuries. Bro, what are you worried about right now? Feelings or winning? Bro, I don't care about feelings right now. You get the best talent available in that building and you try to win. Bro, you know, we ain't here for feelings right now. We're here for wins. So, let's go. It figures, you know, Uno stays healthy and everyone around him gets hurt this year. Why wouldn't it be? Why wouldn't it be? Unreal. All right, snap counts for yesterday. Here we go. From what you see here, you know, oh man, the injuries. I swear to God. Anyways, going into the snap counts here, let's start off with the offensive snap counts here. Obviously, you know, Eichenberg, you know, that's why he's not on 100 because he was dealing with that injury. So, but beyond that, Cedric Wilson, season high snap count for him, 86% of the offensive snaps with Waddle out. Achane, look at this. Achane almost basically splitting. He's basically splitting the snaps with Jeff Wilson Jr. 33-34. Man, you got to feature Achane more. Martin made a great point yesterday. You got to feature him this week. You have got to feature him this week. He was easily our most explosive player. Easily. Brooks, 5 snaps, fumbled on 1. Not good. Not good at all. Claypool, 10 snaps, drops an easy touchdown. Chosen after coming out of concussion protocol, only plays 13 snaps. Craycraft, 15. Berrios, obviously clear and far away here. Wide receiver, 3. And Durham Smythe, clearly tight end 1, with Julian Hill only seeing about 33% of the snaps. When you flip over to the defensive side, Duke Riley playing 100% of the snaps. 100! Oh boy, in the game he was looking like yesterday. Christian Wilkins playing 93% of the snaps and looking like he was, you know, a ghost for 90% minus the 1 hold I called out. Ugly. Apple seeing 84% of the snaps. Cam Smith, look at that, only seeing 15 snaps on special teams. Same with Tyndall, 17 snaps. Calvin Munson had 1 snap. Brandon Jones, ladies and gentlemen, had 1 snap yesterday. 1. Nick Needham, even with Howard going down, 5 snaps. Shows you how much they believe in him. I told you, I don't think this coaching staff, I don't know what it is. There's clearly, I don't know if they're fans, man. Van Ginkel saw 79% of the snaps. That'll go up, right? You know, him and Chubb were leading the way. You can see Van Ginkel's probably going to go into the 80s. And this is going to elevate Ingram and Ogba, basically. So, those are your week 17 snap counts for the Miami Dolphins. Not overly pretty. Not overly pretty. Guys, and I'm going to tell y'all right now, anyone discussing Mike McDaniel being on the hot seat, Mike McDaniel's not on the hot seat right now, FYI, just so you know. Just so you know. People might have them on their own specific hot seat, like he's on my hot seat, but he's not on Ross or Greer's hot seat, ladies and gentlemen. All right? Right now, he's 20-13 with back-to-back playoff appearances, about to head into Week 17 game with a shot at the number 2 seed and the AFC East crown. Mike McDaniel, and anyone suggesting Mike McDaniel's on the hot seat is an idiot. And that's a ridiculous statement. They're not going to fire him. It's not happening. Get that out of your head. Anyone saying he's only been a head coach for 2 years, sure. Situationally, play calling, he's very flawed. Sure, he's flawed with his commitment to the run sometimes, 110%. Sure, he's very flawed with clock management and getting plays in time, 110%. But he's a 2-year head coach and he's learning. And look at the injuries he's put up with the last 2 years. And yet, again, I go back to his record. And he was a waddle catch away from upsetting the Bills on the road last year. He ain't getting fired, ladies and gentlemen. Get that? I wouldn't even discuss it. That is an absolute moot point. It is not happening. Not happening. Sorry, guys. All of you Flores supporters. It's not happening. All right. Now, and I mean, all you guys, imagine if we got to the Super Bowl and imagine if you were Shanahan fans. Like, imagine if you guys were just Kyle Shanahan fans and followed Kyle Shanahan around. How would you guys feel watching what happened in Atlanta up 28-3? How would you feel watching what happened in San Francisco? You guys would be calling for Kyle Shanahan. You guys would say, well, he can get us there, but he can't win the big game. I don't believe in him. Fire him. That's exactly what you guys would be saying. All right, offensively, passing grades. All right, remember, you do nothing, you get a 60 grade. Let me put that in perspective. Terron Armstead, highest grade, 80.7. Devin Achane, 79.6. Austin Jackson, 79.1. Robert Jones, 77.4. Tyreek Hill is 75.5. Tua Tagovailoa, your 6th highest graded guy, at a 71.6. I'm telling you, the film's going to show you guys tomorrow when me and Martin break it down. Sure, he had a couple bad throws. Film wasn't as bad as what people are trying to make it out to be. Keon Smith, worst graded, 25.3. Alec Ingold right behind him at a 46. Chosen at a 51.1. Lester Cotton at a 53.2, who continues to struggle. Chase Claypool at a 53.9. Cedric Wilson at a 56.7. Jonathan Harrison, 57.2. Barrios, 57.9. Again, remember, to get a 60, you don't have to do anything. Like, to get a 60, you don't have to do nothing. You start at a 60. So, there you go. Now, look at this passing chart because for some reason, I don't think it's changed. Next Gen Stats, they haven't put out the passing charts yet for today. I don't know why that is. I don't know why. But you know, it is what it is. So I guess take this one in right here, because other than other than Lamar's, we don't have Tua's. So, all right. So here, as you can see, they have Tua Tagovailoa on the deep levels. They had him 1 for 3. On the intermediate level, they had him 5 for 12. Short level, they had him 9 for 11. And then at the line of scrimmage or behind it, they had him out of 9 attempts, 7 for 9. Now, Tua, when you look at him, when he was kept clean, which was 77.3% of his dropbacks, his completion percentage was about 65.6. He threw 2 touchdowns and 2 picks, 230 yards. Average depth of target was about 77.7 yards. Time to throw was 2.01 seconds. When he was under pressure, though, he was 1 for 6. Right? The offensive line was okay yesterday. He was 1 for 6, 7 yards, 3.21 seconds in terms of time to throw. Passer rating dropped from 81.5 to 39.6. His completion percentage, his adjusted completion percentage is actually about 33.3. Yeah. Not, I mean, he was okay when he was kept clean. Under pressure, he wasn't very good yesterday. I mean, again, it was a mediocre performance. Mediocre, not really good, not very good. It was a mediocre performance from Tua Tagovailoa yesterday. And it came down to decisions and rushing. I mean, the second touchdown was a tip, so, you know, right? Now, they only charged him with 2 turnover-worthy plays. And they both came when he was clean. So, yeah. Gonna have to be better this week, man. Gonna have to be better this week. And they only charged him with what? 1 big-time throw? They only give him 1 big-time throw. So, gonna have to be better this week. Definitely gonna have to be better this week. Not even close. Blocking. They gave up 12 pressures yesterday. Austin Jackson gave up 4. Robert Jones gave up 2. Lester Cotton gave up 2. Jeff Wilson gave up 1. Durham Smythe gave up 1. Eichenberg gave up 1. And Armstead gave up 1. And you see 3 sacks. 1 from Armstead, 1 from Eichenberg, and 1 from Austin Jackson. So 12 pressures. Actually, that's one of our higher pressure allowed games in recent memory. I mean, just quickly here, just to show you. Last week, we gave up 10, right? Week 15, we gave up 11. Week 14, we gave up 13. So that's the most we've given up since week 14. Week 13, we gave up 4. Week 12, we gave up 4. Week 11, we gave up 7. Week 10, I don't know what's going on here and why that didn't work. But week 10, it wasn't good. Week 10 right here. I don't know why it's doing that. Anyways, I digress. You could see when look at we were in single digits before Connor went down. Anyways, defensively here. We got yesterday. We only got 6 pressures. 2 from Seiler, 2 from Chubb, 1 from Brandon Jones on his only snap, and 1 from Van Ginkel. No pressures from Wilkins. No pressures from Raekwon. Nothing from Melvin Ingram. Look at the grades. Melvin Ingram had a 36.9 grade. Jalen Ramsey had a 45.9, his worst grade as a Dolphin. Eli Apple somehow had a 51.2. Cater Coe had a 31.1. Xavien Howard had a 32.4 before he got hurt. Look at the names at the bottom here. Javon Holland, 48. Eli Apple, again, if you don't do anything, you get a 60. So you see the 260 is from Elijah Campbell and Munson. You don't do anything, you get a 60. Deshaun Hand had a 91.9 on 16 snaps. Then it's Seiler at a 70.4, and then we don't have another player in the 70s. 0 pass rush. 0 pass rush. And let's get into the coverage matchups, which not going to be pretty. Duke Riley targeted 4 times with Justice Hill, allowed 62 yards, 3 first downs, and 1 touchdown. Eli Apple targeted 4 times, allowed 3 receptions for 104 yards, 3 first downs, and a touchdown. Also had a pass breakup. Javon Holland targeted 3 times, allowed 3 receptions for 48 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 first downs. Deshaun Elliott targeted 3 times, allowed 3 receptions for 31 yards and a first down. Cater Coe targeted twice, allowed 2 receptions for 37 yards, 2 first downs, and a touchdown. Jalen Ramsey targeted twice, allowed 2 receptions for 25 yards and 2 first downs. David Long targeted twice, allowed 1 reception for 14 yards and a first down. Justin Bethel targeted once. Charlie Kohler made the touchdown catch for 19 yards against him. Xavien Howard targeted once, allowed 0 receptions, but it was a drop from Rashad Bateman. I mean, look at Rashad Bateman. All of his receptions were first downs, and he had a drop. Look at Justice Hill, 5 for 5, 64 yards. Zay Flowers, look at this. 3 for 3, 106 yards, and a touchdown. Like, ugly. Ugly coverage. Ugly coverage. I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say. Now, the passing chart for Tua and stuff like that still isn't out. So what we'll do is we'll just go over the next-gen stats. And here are your next-gen stats. Tua Tagovailoa and Lamar Jackson, longest completed air distance, 47.3 yards for Lamar, 40 for Tua. Devin Achane and Justice Hill were the fastest ball carriers. Justice Hill got up to 20.66. Achane got up to 20.54. Zach Steeler had the fastest sack, took 5.9 seconds. Owe had their fastest sack when he was offside, took 3.6 seconds. Now here's their chart. Here's their passing chart. I guess we could count this. They charted it to as 1 for 3 from the deep level. Remember, again, going back to the PFF grades that we just looked at, they had him the same thing, 1 for 1 and 0 for 2. Now, right here, they have him 1 for 2 to the left intermediate, 3 for 6 to the middle intermediate, and 1 for 4 to the right intermediate, right? 12 throws. Now, again, PFF had him 0 for 1 to the left, 4 for 8 to the middle, and 1 for 3 to the right. So, not lining up the same there. Same amount of attempts, but not the same amount. And then on the short level, they had him 9 for 11, 2 for 2 to the left and to the middle, and then 5 for 7 to the right, while PFF had him only 11 attempts there, 1 for 1 to the left, 5 for 5 to the middle, and 3 for 5 to the right. And then behind the line of scrimmage, next-gen stats, they have Tua 7 for 10. And behind the line of scrimmage, PFF, again, going back to it, they had him 7 for 9. All right, Lamar Jackson on the flip side, 3 for 4 on the deep level, just roasted us. Intermediate level, they had him 4 for 6. Short level, they had him 7 for 7. And behind the line of scrimmage, a perfect 4 for 4. 18 of 21 for 321 yards and 5 touchdowns. Like, didn't even need to throw the ball very much. Devin Achane found most of his success running off the edges. He had 102 yards rushing off the left and right edges. Not much going on up the middle. Brooks didn't have much going on. Jeff Wilson found most of his success off the right edge as well. Gus Edwards, they were just running to that right side. Killing us to that right side. Now, Lamar, he killed us off the left, but Gus Edwards just killing us off that right side. You look at separation, and, you know, it was evident if you're watching the game. Oh, Rhonda, you need to email me. Email me, PhinsideTheNFL@gmail.com. You are one of the t-shirt winners along with 50 State Fins fan. You won a Waddle shirt. So you need to email me, Rhonda. By the way, I just had deja vu. That's crazy. Anyways, receiving wise, you can see it here. Tyreek Hill, everyone was under the league average except Durham Smythe and Braxton Berrios. Cedric Wilson, 1.29 yards. Chosen, 0.68 yards. Tyreek Hill, 2.28 yards. The league average is 2.95. Flip on the other side. Aguilar, 4.68 yards. Zay Flowers, 6.1 yards. Bateman was under it at 2.4, but likely was higher than at 4.26. And then you had Odell at 1.01. Defensive pass rush average separation around the league is about 4.54 yards. Bradley Chubb, 4.2 yards. Wilkins, 4.39 yards. Van Ginkel, 4.75. Sealer, 5.54 yards. Clowney was under it at 4.3 yards. Owe was under it at 4.41. Van Noy was under it at 4.47. Matabuki was beyond it at 5.07 yards. Yeah, Rhonda, make sure you email me, all right? Because you won a shirt. Now we got to get that out to you, all right? I want to make sure you get that. So email me. PhinsideTheNFL@gmail.com. 50. You won the Waddle one, and 50 State Fins fan won the Tua Tagovailoa one. So I want to just send them all out at the same time. I mean, you know, guys. You know, I go back to the Tom Hanks in Major League. Sorry, not in Major League. A league of their own. There's no crying in baseball. Well, there's no whining and moaning in football. All right? There's just none. You got to move on. One of the things we always give credit for to Eli Manning and what made him so great was how he could shake off the last play. Well, guess what? We need to collectively shake off the last game. There is no time to feel down for yourself. There is no time to mourn the loss of Bradley Chubb. There just is no time. You can't feel sorry for yourself right now. Listen, I'm stating the injuries as context of why we might not achieve what we all want to achieve. But at the same time, I'm still not feeling sorry for ourselves, and we still need to handle business on Sunday, injuries or not. I'm just using injuries as context as this is why we're not going to probably achieve what we want to achieve. Nothing more than that. Nothing more than that. That's good. The injuries are we're going to look back and we're going to say to ourselves, what if we had a healthy team? Nothing more than that am I saying. I'm still saying that you can't feel sorry for ourselves because we got the injuries. Still got to go and handle business. Got to keep moving. Listen, we were all sad. We were all depressed. We were all down yesterday. It's over now. Let's move on. Yesterday happened. We lost. Time to recoup. You know, pick ourselves up the floor. Remember, it's not about how hard you get knocked down. It's about how fast you get up. A lot of football left to be played. I'll be back tomorrow night with Martin, and we will recap we'll break down the all 22. So make sure you guys tune in tomorrow. Then I'll be back on Wednesday with Richmond and ball game. Then on Thursday, I'll be back with Neil. Then we'll preview this Bills game on Friday. Then it's prime time on Sunday, baby. Ain't no running from it. Time to take it head on. And by the way, for all you wondering, Omar Kelly, we will be doing our show next week, all right, after the final game of the regular season. So be out on the lookout for that. Me and Omar next week, all right, for another Cover 4, all right? Smash the like button on the way out. Appreciate all y'all for coming through. Fins up, baby. And I will see y'all on the next one.